Yeah, so when you think about planning, we're really city builders. So we help to make those decisions that create places and create spaces.
I'm excited today to have Eldon. Eldon, welcome to my show.
Thank you.
All right.
Pleasure to be here. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, happy that you made it. Eldon is an urban designer, and he's just going to walk us a little bit through what he does so we can understand what an urban designer does, what his role is, and all that. So maybe without much further ado, Eldon, maybe tell us a little bit about this firm that you work for and what your role is in this firm.
The firm that I work for is called MHBC. That's an acronym for McNaughton Hermson Britton Clarkson Planning Limited. You can see why they shortened the name. But it's a land use planning firm. It's a boutique planning firm and specializing in land use planning, urban design, landscape architecture. Also doing cultural heritage all across Ontario, sometimes in locations across Canada, sometimes in the United States.
Oh, wow.
My focus within the firm is planning and urban design.
All right.
I work out of the Woodbridge office, which predominantly serves the Greater Toronto area. But my work and the work that I do follows the clients that I work for. And those clients could be both on the private sector, but they could also be public sector like municipalities, cities, towns, or government agencies.
Okay.
So even though geographically our office is in Woodbridge,
Yes.
I could be working in Windsor or Ottawa or Simcoe County or Thunder Bay. I go where the client goes because the relationship is with the client.
I see.
So myself, I'm one of about 18 partners within the firm.
Oh, nice.
And we have 5 offices across Ontario. I think Woodbridge here, we're the second biggest office, or the head office being in Kitchener. And we've got about 130 staff across those offices. Land use planning and the whole concept of planning, managing and designing and determining where people live, where people work, how to move between places. So it can include things such as buildings, parks, even conservation areas,
I see.
roads, highways, civic buildings like stadiums and other types of major infrastructure that helps create cities.
I see.
So
City
really,
building.
yeah, so when you think about planning, we're really city builders. So we help to make those decisions that create places and create spaces.
Okay. Like the
So,
sound of
and
that.
then when you think about urban design, it's more about the articulation of those places and spaces. So, are they meaningful? Are they a place that you enjoy? Does it feel safe when you walk through it? Does it create a sense of belonging? Does it have those right elements and those right mixes that make it a desirable place and create a local identity that people want to associate with? Everyone knows that when they go on vacation or if they go to travel and visit somewhere, people can connect to something. Like, for example, oh, I've gone on this vacation and we always love to walk down this street. There's something about that street that connects people to that place. Urban design tries to achieve that same type of connection of people to places.
That you feel like you belong, it's enjoyable to walk there, there are trees, so it's comfortable.
Exactly.
And stuff like that. Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
think you've captured that well. And so what drew you to urban design? Like, somebody in your family, like how did you get into urban design?
So I didn't know about urban design. When I was going through school, in high school specifically, I wanted to either be an architect or a pilot. Both of them led me down a route where I eventually went to Carleton for architecture, but then didn't enjoy it, and then learned about an opportunity for urban planning within the University of Waterloo. And it was from there that I further researched and learned about this subsect called urban design, which seemed to be a blending of architecture and planning all into one package. So that really drew me to it. So through school, I took all the classes that were available that that related to that topic. And coming out of school, I just put myself in front of all those situations and opportunities where urban design played a role in urban planning, the whole big picture of city building. And I ended up going to school part-time for my master's in urban design to just further build on my education and skill set. And that allowed me to, even within this office, help to create an urban design division.
You're the one who created this division?
Yes, within this
neat.
office, I lead the urban design division within our Woodbridge office. The work that we do now is very forward-thinking and progressive and complementary to everything else that we do within the firm.
So you said the work that you do here is progressive and forward-thinking. Maybe could you articulate what you mean by that? Because maybe others might not know what is maybe backward thinking in terms of urban design, but what are you guys doing different?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a really great question. I think we have a great set of urban designers in our team where we have the opportunity when they present themselves to take risks.
Okay.
So when we have a client that's interested and willing to do something a little bit different, we have the capability to come in and help them take to the next level. So, for example, we developed what we call the Urban Design Dictionary. And that dictionary was designed specifically as a tool first to help our staff throughout the company understand what urban design means and understand kind of some of the terminology that's used in the industry, that's used in, throughout reports and documents, so they would understand, words like transition or placemaking or thinking about things like active frontages and angular plane. What do all those words mean? So that's what the dictionaries help to connect with our staff and to help them understand the work that our group at Urban Design does within the company. It was so successful that we actually shared it with the rest of our industry.
Oh, wow.
We put it online as kind of a tool so everyone could use. So it turned from an internal tool into a go forward best practice for how we do work in our office.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know that you guys developed that. It's a really neat tool for sure, because sometimes when you're in this profession, you get caught up in all the jargon and assuming people know what you mean, transition to neighborhoods from...
Yeah, I'm sure I've used a lot of jargon just talking right now.
We'll go back to the dictionary after this. Okay. So as part of your team, how many people, I know you said there are 30 people in this office. How many people are in your team, and what's the kind of the composition of your team? In terms of professionals and stuff like that, yeah.
So that's a good question, and I mean, I try not to look at it as my team.
Okay.
We're very collaborative in the office, and what we've been trying to move towards is a more mixed specialization within the office. So in our office we have planners, we have urban designers, we have landscape architects. And we have graphical designers, and our work overlaps.
True.
Each time. So we've been working towards trying to get out of the silos of the professions to let our work complement each other when we work on things. So ensure that we're giving the best to our clients that we
Okay.
work with. So we benefit from the knowledge that's in our offices,
Okay.
and we work as a beehive to ensure that everyone doesn't feel like they're siloed in what they work on, or that they
Yeah.
can only work on one thing, that they have the opportunity to be able to broaden their experiences.
Okay, and as well as know that their work influences somebody else, and how that, everybody giving room for one another in some ways, because sometimes the planner is very fixed on what they want, and then you can't allow for the creative process, or maybe the landscape architect wants more trees and stuff like that. So
Exactly.
okay, more collaboration.
Yeah.
Where did you do your undergrad, and maybe you can say it again, and where you did your master's?
Sure. I did my undergrad at the University of Waterloo
Okay.
in urban and regional planning, and I did my master's in urban design studies from the University of Toronto.
Okay.
I took a break in between, simply because I could not afford
Yeah.
not working and just continuing with education. If I had that luxury, I would have gone from, my undergrad, from my bachelor's straight into my master's. But then when I look back on it and I think about it, it was probably better that I did have that break, because then I'm taking real world experiences to my next level of education. So it's not just theoretical, it's practical. So in a certain sense, I think it was probably the better route,
Okay.
because it didn't bankrupt me.
Okay.
But also because I was looking at my education in a more mature way,
That's true.
and with a greater level of value, because I did it part-time, meaning I'm taking time to both work and go to school, because I want that level of education.
Okay.
Like, to me, it felt more meaningful coming out of it, because I had to work for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. So, based on, I also urban design, so I kind of know, but I would like to hear from you, who works in private sector. What are some of the technical skills that somebody needs to do the work that you do, or what? And even people are trying to join maybe your team. What are some of the technical skills that you're looking out for, or somebody needs to do the work of an urban designer?
That's a really good question. And I think there's a few skills. There's the typical skills that everyone anticipates they're going to need, which is, having the technical ability to work on certain programs. So that you have, say, a level of comfort with AutoCAD,
So drafting programs.
digital drafting, digital drawing. So using the Adobe Creative Suite, such as Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign. Those are usually the big three
Yes.
from the Creative Suite that really anchor a lot of the work that we do. But also visualization programs like SketchUp or Rhino. Those are all 3D modeling platforms. And then going to the next level and making them look beautiful, like
Yes.
using applications or plugins like V-Ray
Yes.
to help create beautiful sceneries and beautiful scenes and vignettes. But beyond that, beyond like those capabilities, which you don't need to know all of them, but you need to be able to be capable of learning those skills. I really put a lot of value in someone's ability to sketch, to hand sketch, to be able to come up with a concept or draw an idea or communicate an idea just on paper. Because I think it's one of those skills that is disappearing, and it's a skill to me that helps you think differently. That you can't achieve that same level of open-minded thinking simply by doing it digitally on a computer with a mouse. I still, in a lot of projects that I do, I'll roll out plans and I'll have a roll of sketch paper, or some people call it onion paper, really transparent paper, and I'll sketch ideas. And then I'll give it to my staff and I'll ask them to digitize this. I found that that's a really great fundamental. And then the other one that I think is hugely important is the ability to communicate. So having an interest in public speaking, having an interest in collaboration, and working with others and trying to resolve conflicts, that's a big part of an urban designer's role. Being able to communicate your ideas. It's one thing if you have this beautiful vision of a subdivision, a residential community that's been subdivided into individual lots, a beautiful park, a central boulevard and great corner store. But if you can't communicate why those elements within those plans are important and how it fits within the community in the area context and how it is functioning for future residents, future businesses, existing people around the area, then there's a high probability that someone will interpret your plan for you. Someone will interpret that vision for you, and it may not go the way you want it to go. Being able to help people come along on that journey is a big part of communication. It's a big part of what I think is a successful urban designer.
Okay.
Those are all skills that even at a high school age you can learn early. You can kind of do those presentations in front of classes. When you get to university, you do those presentations, speak to groups, take courses like going to Toastmasters or other type of organizations that allow you to present and speak. It's a great skill that anyone can learn and can build on.
Why don't you walk us through how your typical day looks like, or maybe typical week, maybe those two, so somebody can, and you've kind of alluded to it a little bit, but just to see what your typical day looks like.
Oh, wow. I don't really have typical days.
Okay.
I can tell you what can happen in a typical week.
Okay.
So, in a typical week, I can be approached by 3 or 4 existing or new clients for a new project to work on, and I have to determine whether I can work on it or not. I'm reviewing reports or documents or plans, and I'm commenting on them and giving feedback back to my staff.
Yes.
I'm doing a presentation at a public meeting in support of a project, so that can be in front of a city council, or that could be in front of just a general community as part of a community meeting. I'm also oftentimes leading meetings with our project team on a project. Yeah, sure.
Yes,
so I'll
yeah.
work with an architect, I'll work with a landscape architect, transportation engineer, hydrogeologist, geotechnical specialist, noise study specialist, wind study specialist. They're all, I think that's about 50% of the specialists I work with.
Okay.
Coming together and helping them do their work so we can put together the story and make a submission or respond to a submission to the city on a project that we want to do. So a lot of time is spent coordinating that and helping that move forward. And oftentimes I'm also working with the client to help improve and revise their ideas, their plans, their visions on projects. The rest of the day is really comprised of mentoring.
Okay.
So
Other staff and stuff.
exactly. So I have a certain skill set, helping to transfer that down to our staff and helping support the work that they're doing, ensuring that they have a level of support that allows them to do the best job that they can do in the office.
I think you've explained a little bit, but I think maybe to help us even understand a little bit further, why don't you walk us through maybe one of the projects that you've worked, or a couple? How do you get the work? Is it competition? Is it, like you did say, the client approaches you, and walk us through one of your favorite or one of your projects? Not favorites, but one of your the one that you'd like us to walk us through.
Okay. I can walk you through the project that's above you
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
Well, our office here is involved in the build out of the Vaughan Metropolitan Center,
Okay.
which is just down the road from here, which is the end of the line of the Spadina subway. So the VMC, which is what it's called, we work with our client who owns a significant portion of land in the area for the incremental build out and development of what is going to be a new downtown. So we were involved in setting out the framework and helping craft and influence the policy so that it laid the framework for all the development applications that came in for each of the blocks that are going to be created within this community. So, so it's been really inspiring to see that work go through a process and literally start constructing. So some of the first phases, the KPMG Tower, Transit City Phase 1, 2, and 3, all the subsequent blocks, the removal and relocation of a Walmart, so that new, denser, built form towers and parks and streets can all be created to create a walkable community out of nothing.
Wow.
It's always hard. It's always a risk to try and create a downtown out of nothing, because all the downtowns that we know have been historically created pre-automobile.
Yes, yes.
Pre-influence of a car that people relied on. So to create a community amongst a car-oriented city and a car-oriented big box center like Vaughan Metropolitan Center is really breaking new ground.
Okay.
And only a portion of it, a small portion of it, has been developed today. When it fully builds out, it's going to be probably one of the densest urban centers in the GTA, in the Greater Toronto Area. And it's all partly due to the vision of a number of landowners that have accepted that the city wants to do this and have been prepared to move forward and build those communities one block at a time.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And and what do you like the most about the work that you do?
Oh, I think I like the idea of knowing that something is going to happen somewhere before anyone else knows.
And where somewhere here means city building, like a new building is
Yes.
coming up, a new community is coming up. Okay.
I enjoy when I'm walking down the street with a friend or with a family, and they point to a building and say, "Oh, this is an interesting site. It's a building," and I can say, "Yeah, so this building is going to become a 26-story high-rise building. They just made an application for this, and it's going to have a grocery store at the ground floor, and it's going to have some offices above, and it's going to be a very tall building." Just knowing how a city is going to transform and evolve, I find that very exciting.
Absolutely.
I find that knowing something's going to happen, seeing it happen, seeing it emerge, that whole a city reinventing itself over and over and over again is just it's really inspiring to me.
Okay.
It's a reflection of progress, but it's also a reflection of innovation.
Absolutely.
Change in a city is like looking at kind of like an organism grow.
True.
It's very like the city is this organic, even the streets, even the sidewalks, and even the parks. All of them have the ability to change for the better, and being a part of that
Mm-hmm.
I think is really cool.
Okay, I agree absolutely.
Yeah.
And what do you, I don't want to say dislike, but what do you like the least about what you do?
Oh. um, I'd say I don't like when projects get refused.
By the city
Yes.
officials? Okay.
Yeah, by the city, where you've gone through. It takes a lot to pull a team together and to go through a process where you consult with the public, you're consulting with the municipality, the city, the conservation authority, the province. You're consulting with all of these agencies, and you're trying to work to reach consensus.
Yeah.
You're trying to reach a balance. And there will always be, in this industry, there will always be difference of opinion as to what is right and what is not. And as much as you may think that you got it right and that everything makes sense and this is in the public good, that outcome is not always the case.
Okay.
And when that outcome is not in the case that you were thinking, when a decision comes out and that decision is no, we don't agree, this is not appropriate, it's hard.
Okay.
You know, it's hard because you put so much effort and
Yeah.
you've gone down a road, and now you kind of question, well, where did you go wrong? What could have been different? Or, you know, were there certain aspects or certain people that no matter what you did, you would have never reached that goal, should you have not even started in the first place?
Okay.
Those are always tough,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
They don't happen too much.
Okay.
for
fine.
me.
Okay, goodness. Okay.
I like to be really clear about my clients and the projects that I work on, that if I'm working on it, it's something that I believe in, it's something I can defend. And if I can't defend it, I'm not going to take it on.
Okay.
So it's always especially hard when it gets turned down, because I've already decided at that point that I can defend it, and I think it's a really great idea.
Okay.
So
Okay. So your communication skills.
communication skills. Communication skills is 100%.
Debate. At this rate, it sounds like debating skills almost.
Sometimes I always see the communication skills as something that you never kind of reach a peak at or a climax at. You're always continuing to improve them.
Now, in pursuing this, it seems like you kind of found your way, but in some ways, and maybe not. Maybe you can clarify that. But what career advice are you glad that you never followed?
That I never followed.
Yeah.
I had a counselor that I went to in high school in grade 12.
Okay.
And I went to that counselor on advice, because at that point I'm like, I want to be an architect or I want to be a pilot. And my grades weren't that great.
Okay.
Because in those courses you had to take calculus, algebra, geometry, physics, chemistry, like really courses that, are just heavy.
Okay.
And my grades were just not averaging, and I went to that counselor for advice because I wanted to go to university. And the counselor turned to me and said, well, based on your grades, I don't think you really should be focusing on university. I think, you really should be focusing on college.
Wow.
And you should look towards a college degree that may be best for you. And I was upset.
Wow.
Because I didn't come for him to tell me where I should go. I went to him for advice on how I could get to where I want to go. And instead, he effectively told me that that I didn't have hope in going in that direction. So don't even bother even looking at that. So I pushed back and I said, well, no, my objective is to get to university. And he persisted by saying, well, you know, I mean, you can try, but I'm just telling you with your grades, you're probably best suited for college. And I said, well, no, I'm going to university and that's it. And I kind of walked out. If I had just accepted that, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. I probably wouldn't be in the place I am. I mean, it put a fire under me a little bit, but the part that really bothered me about it was that it was dismissive. It was that a part of me concluded that he looked at me and he determined that I'm best suited to go down this route because of who I am. And because maybe him as a counselor has spoken to other young black students and that's the best that he can do. So, you know, that could have been, I could have been in a different place, in a different career, maybe not a career, but I did not give up on myself.
Wow.
That's really what it is. Like not giving up on yourself and believing in what you want to do and working hard for it. You have to work hard for it, and even if you don't make it, it's on your terms, not on someone else's. You should determine whether or not you can go to university. That's bottom line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Agreed. And what advice do you have for somebody who's thinking to go into this career as an urban designer? And I like the way you've concluded the last part, you know, where it's like it's really on your terms and nobody should discourage you what you want to go for, you know. But any other additional advice, or do you want to reinforce that further, like career advice?
I think it's like none of this happens just by rolling in. You know, I had the benefit of having, you know, a great mother and grandmother and aunt and a family structure that supported me. Like I came out of like a single parent household. We didn't have much in terms of finances, but the one thing that I always got was support and encouragement and the push. And the values instilled in me to work hard and believe in myself. And if you put the work in, you will get there.
Okay.
And so I've always taken that philosophy, and I think it's simply believing in yourself and doing the work and being willing to take those strategic risks at the right time in order to advance yourself. Like making those decisions for yourself and being confident in the decisions that you make for yourself. Okay. It all comes down. It always comes back to you. Okay. Do you want it enough?
Okay. True.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great advice. Thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you. A lot of